Hi everyone, it's Lamont Daigle here from The Line Canada. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We never know where you guys are watching this show from. I just wanted to come to you today to give you an ultimate update and final closure on the charges that I have been responsible for since the beginning of the freedom movement in April of 2020 here in downtown Toronto. Now, before I get into this, I want to ensure that some of you who don't understand or have been privy to seeing us in the streets of Ontario and Canada, even in Ottawa, in Montreal, what the line symbol is. What is the Line Canada? Well, the Line Canada, first of all, started off as a leaderless civil rights association, and we were really a movement that was there to protect the other groups and the people in the streets of the country from possible arrest or intimidation by the police by taking on the charges, and for negotiating with, local police officers to ensure that everybody was as safe as possible. And that being said, we were out there at the very beginning of everything going on. Now, in January of 2021, when my criminal charges came upon us, it really brought us to a place where we wanted to go underground and do more work behind the scenes, which was inevitably a better move for us, for sure. Now, if you guys have ever seen this symbol right here, right? It's the O for oppression, and the government's crossed the line and we draw the line. The government hates that symbol. Why? Because the police officers that see us coming down the road with that flag know that we're peaceful, loving people that are just families looking to have some answers from the kind of control and tyranny that we've seen from the government at the start of 3.5 years ago, when these mandates started coming to us, which had absolutely no science behind them whatsoever. So anyways, guys, let's get down to it. Let's give you the update. Now, to give you a little backstory, in November 14th, 2020 was really the beginning of the governmental tyranny that was taking a little bit more of a personal approach towards me. And so I had actually been allegedly charged for organizing and leading a protest in the streets of in the streets of St. Thomas, Elgin County, Ontario, Canada. And we had quite a few hundreds of Church of God followers and freedom patriots from all around the area come to us and help us support that day. Now, please keep in mind that at the beginning of these charges, I did appoint legal counsel, and after going through about $7,000 of personal donations from wonderful patriots looking to help with costs, I decided to dismiss counsel and introduce myself to these fictitious Crown Corporation service providers called courts, okay? Now, I also wanted to give Christopher James from A Warrior Calls a much-loved shout-out, because he graciously helped me at the beginning with notices that were given to the women and men acting as justice of the peace and Crown prosecutors who, quite frankly, could not impose jurisdiction upon myself as a living soul, a man, in their fictional kangaroo court, okay? Now, the reason I decided to dismiss my original counsel was because, I really didn't appreciate being included with all of the other Canadian freedom fighters out there with their legal counsel, because we were being advised by our legal counsel to sign off on what's called an 11B waiver form, which would expedite and basically have us look at giving up our rights for a speedy trial. Okay. Now, I was told that everyone was waiting for a decision based on the VCC and Rocco Galati case, so that my case wouldn't ruin the outcome of other cases. Now, here's the thing. I no longer care about that, okay? Because I am not going to put my life on hold. And, from what we've seen here is that case basically isn't getting anywhere, and I'm not putting my life on hold any longer. That being said, without further delay, here's the update of what some of you have been asking for and wondering about since the beginning. Okay, so now, all of my Provincial Offences Act tickets, a total of 6 of them, on December the 2nd, 5th, 19th, 21st, 2020, and January 2nd and 5th, 2021, were all stayed on June 9th, 2021. Okay? Now, with all of that being said, my conditions were abolished for the alleged charges, such as I was not to possess any sound amplification equipment capable of broadcasting to a crowd, including but not limited to microphones, amplifiers, bullhorns, megaphones, anything like that. I was also not to send or deliver any content on any social media platforms, electronic or physical, and advertisements encouraging or advising of gatherings in public places of 4 or more people. Okay? So, because of that, this is what you have to understand, and this is an important point to understand, is that considering we had a lot of hateful media pieces put out about us, they didn't know what we were up to, or they were being controlled by the government, or gossip from other group leaders and controlled opposition area patriots who were really out there just spreading rumors about us. Not only had we, changed the location of our gatherings in Toronto, but we did that on purpose to divide people. That was the gossip that was going around, and that was absolutely not the case. We were just trying to distance ourselves from patriots that were actually using us, destroying us with gossip. And once we started figuring out that a lot of these group leaders were affiliated with politicians and media who was funded by the antihate.ca platform from Justin Trudeau, we really had to distance ourselves from what other people were doing. We were under attack from all angles, my friends. These conditions made it really difficult for me to defend myself or to really inform ourselves of any of our intentions, considering I had more work to do than staying in jail, okay? Having said that, some patriots, some people actually do enjoy being in jail, and we just figured out that, we would have way better work to do if we weren't in jail, okay? Now, in regards to the St. Thomas case, I was getting tired after 5 appearances during judicial pretrials that were unable to rope me into a trial. So I decided to leave behind my notices and decided to defend myself with the Bill of Rights, which was getting some tractions that other patriots were using with positive results at having their cases dropped. One such individual was Dave Freedom, who was charged with the same offense that I was, and he got his case dropped. So I figured I would try that based on the fact that was working, and everybody was touting the Bill of Rights, which we decided to go into. However, this was not the case for me, as I was charged guilty and fined $25,000, which is now past due at $30,000. Now, we will be filing different notices to turn these debt instruments into trust payments held from me and my natural rights. Somehow, I was being used as an example of a leader of a resistance movement against this de facto corporation acting as a government. Finally, without being notified by the Crown Prosecutor or any court clerks that my personal discovery online, my Disclosure Hub, was scrubbed the day before my court hearing. Okay. The good news, of course, is that after all of this, that my charges for allegedly committing a criminal charge, 180(1)A, common nuisance endangering public health, on January 16th, 2021 at Nathan Phillips Square, a full 2 years and 7 months later, has finally been stayed. Okay? Now, what does a stayed judgment mean? So, charges are stayed when a judge or a crown decides that it would be bad for the justice system for the case to move forward, to continue. This means the issue of guilt or innocence is never really determined. Stays can be granted when the state, country, or province has acted unfairly, including a failure to bring the case to trial in a timely manner. A different type of stay is done by the Crown, such as in this case. And a Crown stay puts the case on hold for a year. The Crown can bring the charges back before the court within a year of the date the charges were stayed. after a year has passed, the Crown cannot bring the charges back into court. Okay? So there you have it, my friends. Virtually all my legal friends, all my legal counsel that I've spoken to have told me that 99.9% of the time, the Crown never brings the case back because the case moving forward would damage case precedent and or case law. So, having said all this, this could not be better timing considering the political climate in Canada within the next month or so. We can now, myself personally, and the Line Canada, involve ourselves in certain marches, convoys, or actions very soon, and we can participate on the road, on the street once again, making sure that our alignments with people are very key, are trustworthy, and we're ready to hit the streets and show the government that we're not putting up with this anymore. Because as we know, folks, more mandates and lockdowns will no doubt happen once again, including 15-minute cities. So, stay tuned for more information. Considering the shutdowns we've experienced in the last 3 years, in the last 3.5 years of our websites, our databases, our social media platforms, and even our payment processors, so that we can't even sell any swag or anything online to help pay the bills and to cover the expenses that we incurred from April 17th, 2020 to January 2021, where we were paying for everything that was on the ground, rentals, buying equipment, all that stuff was taken care of us. And we didn't have anybody helping us out whatsoever except donations and from the sales of t-shirts and swag. It's okay when it's done to actually provide solutions for people, okay? So, what's gonna happen really soon here, folks, is we are going to make an announcement where we are launching a new website, a new social media platform, payment processors, banking platforms, and this time, we will not get shut down. And why are we so sure? Well, let's look at it this way, folks. You're gonna have to stick around, check the Line Canada for now until we get ourselves, a new updated website. Check us on social media. We will have updated announcements pretty soon, especially on our Twitter account. Stay tuned for more announcements. And remember, we will resist, we will not comply, and we will prevail no matter what, no matter how long it takes. Be patient, stay with us, stick with us, pay attention to what we're doing, and at the end of the day, folks, have some intuition about you. Check what people have been doing for years before the freedom movement to see what kind of people you are dealing with and that you're working with, because ultimately we're building a new family. We've lost a lot of friends through all of this, but ultimately we are gaining family. Thank you so much for your support and your patience, and we will speak to you real soon. Talk to you in the next month and a half, 2 months, when some really great stuff's gonna be happening. Lots of love.